Hi, friends. Today was a pretty long day between continuing to work on backing up files on my computer, which is going very slowly, and all the while listening to the horrible racket that it's making. And then we had our first check in with one of my kids' teachers, which is supposed to be a weekly thing. And I was kind of happy to hear that she's going to be writing an opinion paper on something. And I thought, oh, that will be actually kind of a fun thing to help with because I actually like to do opinionated writing. So what I wasn't expecting is that the teacher would ask my daughter, "What's your opinion?" And when my daughter stated her opinion, she told her, "Well, I disagree with you." And I thought, that really just kind of taints the whole thing from the beginning because for kids who are people pleasers like my daughter and kind of prone to anxiety, well, then she's kind of likely to change her opinion to make her teacher happy, you know? So the topic is, should schools serve chocolate milk? And of course, most kids probably feel like, yes, they should, because kids love chocolate milk. And I was going to walk her through researching the topic and all the different reasons why people might be against it. And her teacher said, when she said, "I disagree with you," she said, "First of all, we're not baby cows." And so apparently she's against drinking milk in the first place. And I was just kind of stunned that she said that because whenever I wrote opinion pieces, the teacher wouldn't say, "And this is my opinion." Um, we were left to look things up for ourselves. And even after the fact, our teachers wouldn't say whether they agreed with us or not. But, one of my sons in seventh grade, he had to write, I guess it was a persuasive essay or something of that nature. And it was a really good paper, but because the teacher disagreed with him, he gave him an F. And this was not F work at all. An F should go to a kid who just didn't even try, used horrible punctuation and grammar, and didn't write the required number of paragraphs and all of that. So that really ticked me off. And my boys have learned that when they write things that are opinions, that they are supposed to write what the teacher wants to hear, even if it's not something that they actually agree with. So anyway, when the teacher today said, "We're not baby cows," I almost blurted out, "Well, we're not baby almonds either." But I didn't want to be a smart aleck to my daughter's teacher and didn't want to undermine her. But yeah, I mean, really, no matter how we feel about the situation, you can find evidence for or against. It really kind of boils down to what you prefer. So there are articles that say chocolate milk is a great post-workout beverage, actually the best post-workout beverage. And then there are other articles that say, well, that's not true. So there's going to be bias no matter what. So I've always been like a united front with my kids' teachers, and I'm not the kind of parent who feels like my child can't do anything wrong. But at the same time, I know that teachers don't always do everything right, and it's been rare to 100% dislike a teacher. And I do like my daughter's teacher. I think she's very nice. I don't agree with telling the kids what your opinion is when you want them to form their own opinion. But there was one teacher that my son had in the second or third grade, and I would sit with him every day as he did his homework, and I helped him. And she would write snotty notes on his homework like, "You need to pay attention, Eric." And he actually got the problems correct. And when I said something to her about it, I actually said, "You know what? I think maybe he needs a different teacher." She quickly said, "Oh, well, I make mistakes sometimes." Okay, so you got it wrong that he got the answer wrong, but you didn't have to leave the note in the red pen. You need to pay attention, Eric. That is the kind of thing that makes kids hate school. And we stuck it out with her the whole year. And I do like her as a person, but it was extremely frustrating. And they made a bunch of changes. They changed the junior high into a middle school and made the high school 4 years instead of 3 years. And she ended up at the middle school, and he had her for two of his classes, was how they worked it out with the sixth graders. And the problem at this time was that she wasn't entering the grades into the grade book, and I had no clue how he was doing. And I would give my kids privileges based on, did you do your homework? And, did you do your best? And it was impossible to follow through with that because she wasn't putting anything in the grade book at all. And there were times he would get a 0 on a test even though he was there that day. Like somehow it didn't register on the computer. And then I found out this was happening to other kids. And so it would be like a week before the end of the grading period. And I would find out that he was getting an F in both of her classes. And so two other parents, we met with the principal and her, and she came in right off the bat saying, "Well, just so you know, what your kids tell you is not always what's true." As if she assumed that our kids were making some sort of complaints about her. And I said, "This has nothing to do with what Eric has told me. This has to do with the fact that you're not grading any of his papers until the very end of the quarter or semester." And then she tries to bring second or third grade into this. And she goes, "Well, as you know, he needed more time to work on things, when I was his teacher before." And I watched him hand in every single one of his assignments in middle school. He was handing them in on time. And this just, oh, it enraged me. And the principal was sitting there going, "Well, she's really amazing and she's really smart and she's really great at this," and just not acknowledging the fact that she wasn't entering things into the grade book. And here's us parents going, "Do you need help grading things? Can we help you with that?" And one of my friends just decided to go back to homeschooling because the meeting did absolutely nothing. And it made me mad that she tried to take my son's grade school issues and try to claim that this was somehow his fault, that things weren't going in the grade book, and that she was just trying to give him extra time. And I said, because my son has struggled with school, that is all the more reason I need it in the grade book. Did he pass this? Is he getting the work done? And that is the only time where I had to just tell one of my kids, "You know what? Your teacher's a huge loser. And I'm not going to be mad if you fail her class. And all I expect is that you do your best. But there is something wrong with her." And I kept meeting more parents who were having the same exact issues. And it was just, I didn't have it in me to keep fighting the battle and like take it up to the superintendent, but I probably should have. But it was so hard. It's awful when kids are already struggling with school and then they get a teacher who just makes them hate school even more, you know? So, yeah, it's amazing the types of teachers who actually keep their jobs and get to keep working when they are that terrible at it. And then after we met with the principal, she actually complained in front of the class that parents were complaining about her and her life is so hard. And she also told the kids that she was going through a hard time and that she found her mother-in-law dead in her apartment. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe that's not something to tell your students about. So, that is my confession from the closet, that I told my son Eric that his teacher was a big loser. And I just want to stress that I think most teachers are amazing. I'm grateful that my kids have had many good teachers. But yeah, this situation today just kind of brought me back to some of those special moments. So, thanks so much for watching. Chocolate milk is delicious.